people of YouTube, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to today's live stream. Peter is painting the cyc and we received a few questions from people, so I'm going to start off asking those, but if you do have any questions for us, please leave them in the chat box, whichever side it's on, and I will ask
That'll
them.
be my phone. Oh, the camera's lost me too.
Sorry guys, we probably should have turned phones on silent.
That's gone.
Where
You got to find this
was
camera's
I?
got to find. Oh, there we go. Did
There you
find
go.
me?
Found you? Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
So while Becca's trying to find stuff, apologies for
flipped on.
last month of not posting anything anywhere.
it's not on you.
November is literally our busiest month of the year. We've got lots of commercial work on, and we also stupidly run
3 weeks of workshops.
10 or 14 days of workshops in there as well, which completely wrecks us up. But we're back on track now and hopefully get a spew tube up at least once a week. Hopefully. Maybe. I'll get back to painting.
Okay. Well, I will start it off. So we received a question from a gentleman named Daniel, and he's a fashion photographer based in London and he's 22 years old. Peter, he really likes to shoot a lot of different styles. Should he focus on only one to create his own style?
Does he want to go professional as a photographer? Is that what he's saying? Or
I
not
think
sure?
so.
It's really hard. A jack of all trades is not necessarily the best way to go if you want to start a business. Most people, it's much better to get a set style or a set look or a genre that you work in and get really good in that. And then your name should spread within that world, and that way you should pick up work. Recently, a photographer in Melbourne, and I think she modelled a little bit for a while, but she became a photographer, and I think she might have done a workshop with me. If not, I mentored her a little bit. And she decided she wanted to be a band photographer. And it's amazing how far she's gone. She used to shoot a bit of fashion, a bit of this and that, and was pretty much just not going anywhere. But since she sort of took on band photography, she's now traveling the world with acts. She just got voted, I think, best Australian live photographer of the year. So that's pretty cool. So I'm more, if you're trying to make this a career, I would be trying to aim in at the little pocket you want to mainly feature, and then you can maybe have some side areas you do. But I think that's most likely my recommendation.
I think it's a pretty good one. Do you notice a big difference between your 35mm camera versus the medium format?
My 35mm?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a difference. Medium format, and then again to large format, there is a big difference. There's just a whole different feel to it, but it's like what I say, your 35mm a little bit more like a high-end everyday car, and your medium large formats are more getting into sort of performance cars. They're harder to drive, they stuff up a lot easier. You actually have to know your skills a little bit better to get the images you want. They're slower, they're clunkier, but it's not about the megapixels. A lot of people mix up the megapixels. It's about the size of the sensor and the sort of look that you get out of that medium format. The larger dynamic range always helps. The best thing I ever did was go from shooting, predominantly I was shooting Canon. I think I was on a 1DS Mark I, and that was when I first bought my first medium format digital, and it was a Hasselblad H series H0, and it had an Imicon 22 megapixel back. Free upgrade to 39 megapixel when Hasselblad brought that out. That was the biggest change in my photography, but it suited the way I wanted to go. I wasn't shooting sports, I wasn't shooting weddings, I wasn't shooting night shooting. It was predominantly fashion studio advertising, and it really made the biggest difference. It made me concentrate on my skill more to get my pictures to that next level. Yeah?
Yes. Daniel has said he started taking photos 3 years ago, and then after the first year started taking more portraits, and now he's moving more to fashion because he really likes to create stories and then make them come to reality. Do you have any tips on what he should improve?
Fashion was Fashion was really tough when I got into it. To me, it's even 100 times tougher now. It is so much tougher, and it just doesn't got the inspiration anymore. We do got e-commerce crap, and we've got Insta crap. We just did a new tutorial showing what an Insta shoot's like, and it's horrible. E-commerce is just as horrible. There's hardly any money in magazines anymore.
That leads to one of his next questions.
It's not a dying industry. I think it's just an industry in a really bad position at the moment. I think I hope things, but I'm pretty certain things are going to change. And I think it's partly to do with the whole online world is going to start to evolve, where people are going to want to have class and quality again, and people are getting sick of advertorial. They want to see editorial, they want to see art again. They're sick and tired of this political correct crap. I saw a really good discussion on YouTube, I can't remember where I saw it, but it was a guy talking about decreasing of camera sales, and he was 100% right. It was not the iPhone that was the problem. Camera sales are decreasing due to the fact that photography's got boring. We used to have awesome magazines to look at and get inspired. It was before we had all these Insta photography gurus and camera club legends who made this box that you had to take photos and fit in this little box. And as soon as you start doing that, your pictures just get lifeless and boring. And people are now not getting inspired to take photos as much anymore, which means they're not buying the cameras because they're happy with just a boring iPhone picture, because everyone's lost the art of telling stories or being put in, like they take a nice picture and someone goes, oh, why'd you cut her feet off? Oh, that happened to us the other day, didn't it?
What? Sorry, I was
reading.
reading.
You weren't even listening, were
I
you?
was reading, sorry.
Oh my God. So I hope that covers, look, I still think there is a space for really good editorial photographers and fashion photographers. It's just you're going to have to get really, really good at telling stories and put your fingers in the air and ignore anyone who's kidding you with political correct statements or anybody who's telling you anything about your photography that's wrong, because they're the ones who are wrong. There's no rules in art.
Just quickly, having a look at the chat, so I just wanted to say hello to everyone tuning in from all over the world. It's awesome that we have people from all corners of the globe. Hello. No, my tattoos are not new. I've had them for a while.
How can we have corners of the globe? It's round.
It's a figure of speech.
A figure of speech.
I think you're funny.
You're one of these people that still believe the world's flat, aren't you?
No, I'm not a flat earther. Nicholas, the example of this Insta shoot is on Inspire. We just uploaded it yesterday. I saw a question, where was it? Someone's asked, what is the best way for a new portrait photographer to get more commercial / editorial work, which also kind of ties in with something that Daniel asked, wanting to be published in magazines and getting like paid jobs in magazines. He said he's done a cover, but it wasn't paid.
All right, to get a paid job in a big magazine, you're going to have to do something amazing to catch their eye. They're a big magazine, anyone sort of, even don't have to go as high as Vogue. If we just go with, say, ID or Numero or W or any of those magazines, you need to know what's in fashion right now. You need to have a stylist team that can put together an idea of the shoot. You've got to know what the magazine is looking for next year. Are they talking greens? Are they talking browns? Are they talking high-waisted? Are we talking flares? What are the trends going to be for next year? Then you need to get a stylist on board to help you style up the whole shoot and actually put all the brands of the clothes that you're going to use and then come up with the story and how you're going to shoot that. Then you need to submit that to the fashion editor of the magazine and keep your fingers crossed. Because seriously, if you want to go from nowhere to somewhere, you've got to be able to do all of that stuff, have a full hair and makeup team already pre-arranged. Part of the problem with this is it's a bit hard for you to have your style because you haven't built a style with the editorial yet. This is your early work. So what I suggest you do is you come up with some cool concepts, try and make sure you're up to date with what's current, what's in vogue, what the trend's heading to. Find a cool team to do this with, shoot a really cool editorial, look at it, make sure it doesn't look like a uni student assignment. It has to have that nice, clean edge, and it also has to have that beautiful depth in it doesn't feel like it's slapped together and you don't know what you're trying to create. And when I mean that, shoot your editorial, find your favourite fashion editorial photographer, sit it next to their work and just say, does mine look cheap? If it does, go and shoot it again. Once you're happy that you've got a shoot, then submit it to an online fashion magazine and give them exclusive rights. Do that for about 1, 2, 3 years, and hopefully one of the bigger magazines will then see you, then say, hey, we really like you, can you please submit some ideas for next spring, summer? That's pretty much how it works. Once you're in with the magazine, it becomes easy, but getting your foot in the door with the magazine, they've already got a bookload of really good photographers that know exactly what the magazine wants, the type of format they're supplied in, and to be able to work with deadlines. They're not going to risk that with someone they've never worked with before. So all I suggest is treat this seriously, design your project, design your look, then once you're happy with all of it, shoot it, get a good team on board to shoot it, get it off exclusively to some of the better online magazines. You won't get paid for any of it, but you're going to have to do that for 2, 3, 4 years. Unless you do 3 or 4 amazing editorials, the next minute Fashion Gone Rogue or one of those sites grab you and free promote you, then the big fashion houses might start looking at you. I normally say if you want to get there into fashion, it's going to take 10 years before they even know who you are.
Right.
I know, tough love, but that's just what it is. That's
quite
how
a while.
long it took me.
Yeah.
And then I decided I didn't like how the industry's going and bailed, and now I just do what I want to do.
Well, speaking of your career, Alex on YouTube has asked that you started shooting for fishing magazines, which yes, that is correct. That is how Peter started off being a photographer.
Well, yeah, I was a bit lucky that my very first proper commercial work, like I had some band photography used back when I was 17, 18. But my first commercial work was my own business employing me to take photos for my business's product to use in ads. And then because of that, one of the large magazine companies in Australia liked my photography for the style I was shooting, which was fishing, four-wheel driving, mountain bike, anything that was to do with lifestyle. And from there, it just grew, and I was lucky to be able to have a magazine wanting to use my work and pay me for my work without me having to be known as a photographer. And I just slowly built up my knowledge with the industry and what editors want and understanding deadlines, and to be able to supply the quality of imagery they need, and just built my life from there. But that's where the online magazines is the next place to go, to try and get your foot in the door, at least get something out and published. You can just do blogs, which I've been really too busy to do, but I've really got to get back to it. So I've got about 15 blogs I have to do, which of my fashion editorial work that I've done for myself. And some of them I'll be submitting, depending on how they finish up, but others are just basically my portfolio for people to see. And I'm still pretty amazed at how much work I get out of companies that just stumble across my blog and then book me for that.
Blogs are pretty handy. Daniel has also asked, I feel like you kind of touched on this last live stream that we did. He's asked if he should try to work as a freelancer or try and get a job from an agency.
Yeah, no, I did touch that in the last one. Pretty much I don't like agencies, so I prefer to be my own boss. I prefer to be in charge of what I charge. And again, agencies are very hard to get into, and if they've got no work, you've got no work. And most agencies are only going to take you on if you have a book of clients. They're not going to take you on if you don't have any clients. So they want you to come on board and bring your clients with you, and then they're happy to look after you. Next. Oh, she's doing camera stuff.
Yeah.
Job.
Daniel's also asked, he says he really likes to work with fashion designers, jewelry brands. It's his ideal clients. He has done some collaborations, but what's the price that he should start charging?
He's done some collaborations.
Yeah, he's done some collabs, but wants to know what's the price that he should start charging.
Yeah, I can't tell you that because I keep on getting told I'm very expensive. But I normally say you shouldn't work for nothing, even if you only charge them for $50 for some fee that you come up with. As soon as you do it for nothing, they just say that your time's worth nothing. So they'll cancel out on you on the day of the shoot because it doesn't matter, your time's not worth anything, so it's no loss to you. They also won't appreciate that you appreciate the quality of your work because you're actually saying that my work is worth nothing. So I normally say don't work for nothing, even if it's just working for costs. So work out the cost of the studio, work out the cost for, even if it's just the wear and tear on your product, on your camera gear. At least have some type of thing that you're going to charge them for. And you doing a collaborative with a jeweler, there's no way known the jeweler's going to put on the actual pictures, photography by such and such, because it's going to make the jeweler look amateur, which means heaps of people are going to see the pictures, but the type of people you want to see the pictures aren't the type of people who are going to book you. Those pictures have been used to sell to people who want to buy jewellery, not photography. There's a little bit of, well, every brand watches another brand, so there'll be other jewellery companies that'll watch what you're doing, but if you have a distinct style, they're going to be very reluctant if their competitor has used you, to then use you because now their photography looks like their competitor's photography. So that type of stuff is really hard. Unless you can do something amazing, which everyone's going to go, wow, we need to book this photographer. The collaboration works better used just to do editorial stuff.
Sorry about that, just blowing out before, guys. The sun came out and now it's gone away again, so.
It's Melbourne. You don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes.
4 seasons in one day, hey. I guess another one that's from Daniel that's a little bit hard for you to answer is what packages should he offer?
I'm not a big fan of packages, full stop. So we don't even use packages anymore.
No.
We're an hourly rate. This is our hourly rate. This is our hourly rate for shooting. This is our hourly rate for retouching. This is our hourly rate for doing art direction. Bang. We can estimate to the client how long it might take, but we don't do packages. If you book this, you'll get a 2-hour photo shoot with 5 headshots retouched. That just doesn't work because there mightn't have been 5 good headshots to use out of the shoot. Yeah, no, but this is a different, most of my commercial work has been in the commercial environment, not shooting portraits and weddings and stuff like that where people want packages. So I haven't had to so much do that type of work, so I'm not really good to ask about that pricing.
I guess I'll have to show you after this and we can answer in an email because he's got links to his photography website and Instagram, but it's a little bit hard for me to show Peter because he is
that type of
the
stuff.
moment.
I'm never going to critique someone's photos. I'll talk about their web pages and things like that, but that's a completely different thing. That's not something I can do live.
That's what he's asked how he can improve his website. So I can show you that after and we can...
Yeah,
yeah, I know you hate doing that stuff.
No, it's just, it's not my place. It's my website. How many people say my website's shit? So it's not my place to do that.
Yeah, that's fair
I'll
enough.
do a mentor session with someone one-on-one when I can ask them questions live. I can't do it over this way and give an accurate answer. I don't know whose clients are. I don't know what he's trying to become. I can't give him recommendations on his web page.
Yeah.
He's mostly better speaking to a really good web company who understand about your landing pages and where you're losing your clients and so forth.
Yeah. Active Track seems to be struggling to find you.
Sorry?
I don't know, it's struggling to find you.
Struggling to find me?
There we go.
I'm big enough.
Yeah,
Do I need just
there we go, now it's found you. Now it's happy again. Should he try and enter into contests?
Sorry?
Should he try and enter into contests?
Nah. Contests are not your customers. I did that stupid thing. I entered contests. The only thing I did though, I submitted my work, exactly the same work I was submitting to my clients. So I entered into commercial contests, only because I was told I really should because of the association I was in. Now, I'm not a member of the association because it's more like a camera club, and to having other photographers to judging your work, who cares? They're never going to be a client. Who do you care what they think? They're only going to tell you if they'd taken the picture what they would have done. Well, they weren't the photographer, so they can't say what's good or bad in your photo because you didn't take it for them. So I'm 100% against competitions unless you want to have this wanky little thing on your web page saying you're an award-winning photographer. So you can just enter...
You're getting a bit too close.
You can just enter one of the competitions that you're guaranteed to get a bronze award, and now you're an award-winning photographer. Guess what? It won't get you any work. The main thing to think about, if you're going to get your car serviced, are you going to walk around, drive around until you can find an award-winning mechanic to do your car? So yeah, not big on contests. It's all right for people who don't want to make it their living or who are not trying to have their own style, because all you're going to do is have the judges talk about your picture based on their style. And I know for a fact, because I've judged Hasselblad Masters, and with that I keep on having to say to myself, yeah, even though this isn't my style, do I believe this person has captured something that is amazing and telling a story, not so much in the style I like, but in the style that they shoot. But I doubt many judges actually look at people's work like that.
Right. And last question from Daniel is, should he try and be an assistant and do his own ideas in his free time?
So I should
he try and be an assistant?
No, never. All you're going to do, if you work with one photographer too long, you're just going to become a mini me. And as Beck knows, well, you've been working with me for nearly 2 years. And she's already starting to tell my daddy jokes.
Yeah, it's a bit...
It's scary. She even changed her taste in music. She now listens to psytrance. She only listened to emo rap before, but now she actually likes bands like Dead Mouse. It's amazing how much I've changed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, definitely like, so much better, just shoot. So who says a photography assisting has got it right? He might be shooting a completely different genre to what you want to be shooting. And I sort of quite often say that if you don't like country and western, you come and assist a photographer that plays country and western every single day. At the end of the 6 months, you're going to love country and western. So he's actually changed your taste. So unless you want to be a full-time assistant, yeah, go for it. But if you want to be a photographer with your own style, it's the worst thing you could do. I know in my early days, thought I needed to, but I ended up having not enough time to do it because I had my own stuff to get done, and I never did it. And I think it's the best thing I did was not to go out and get everybody else's taste.
So that's all the questions. Let me flip this over to...
Oh, so you've been snobbing everyone online?
Pardon?
Have you been snobbing everyone online?
No, I was trying to incorporate them. She does this to me all the time,
just completely ignores me.
Sorry guys, we've been trying to incorporate a few of them, but that was all of Daniel's questions. So Daniel, if you're watching, we hope that was helpful for you. Brian has asked, what are some other things you do to get out of a personal photography project rut/boring routine?
Move
that.
Good question. It's a bit tough. Look, at the end of the day, personal project, I want to be able to look at my end product and go, I'm so glad I did that. I love what I've shot. I don't care if the rest of the world doesn't like it. I've achieved what I was trying to achieve, and I'm enjoying looking back at my own work. That's really what I'm trying to achieve out of any shoot that's not commercial, is to make myself happy. So when I'm shooting for myself or my personal work, now it's back to being my hobby. It's not my job. It's what I do when I don't want to work. It's like a lot of people take up golf or take up racing car driving or sim racing or something like that as their hobby. They only do it to have enjoyment and have fun. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do when I'm doing my own personal work. This is now my hobby and fun time, and this is just for me. And I'm trying to create images that I absolutely adore. And if I do my job properly, they might end up on the t-shirt that I wear. Or end up printed and in my man cave, which nobody in the world ever sees except me. So the photos are for me, they're not for anybody else.
I did find it funny that we received a comment a little while ago of someone having a go at you for wearing your own photos on your t-shirt. So it's like, you like it enough to wear it, so I don't see how that's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, that's that right. It's not like I've got my name written on it or I walk around saying, hey everybody, this is my photo. I only do that when we're going through customers and I have a picture of Beck on my t-shirt.
Just
I point
to
out
embarrass
to
me.
customs that this is Beck.
Thanks.
Just to embarrass her.
Thanks. You kind of mentioned this at the start of the live. Where do you see artistic photos in the future? Because there's less photos by camera and more by phone.
Sorry, there's less?
Less photos are being taken. Like, where do you see the future?
I don't want the future to go in the direction it's going. I want every one of the Instagram, Facebook, and especially YouTube camera club trolls to crawl back into your own little holes and leave us people who just want to create shit and we don't live by rules. If I've posted a picture with the feet cut off, it's because I don't care for the feet. The feet weren't my story. And because I don't look at photography through camera club eyes, the feet being cut off doesn't worry me. Nobody ever complains when I do a head portrait that the belly button's been cut off. So I do not understand this, what's happened to photography, that I'm certain every photographer has been there and done it. They've taken a nice picture and some complete idiot, so I won't say idiot, just some person who sits in their bedroom as a keyboard warrior, and when you go and even have a look at who they are, they've either never taken a photo in their life or their photos are so bad, you think, how dare he say that? And I never ever comment back to them on things like that. I just really push that if you keep going the way the world is going, photography has got no future. But if you can say, couldn't give a rat's, I'm going back to the inappropriate 1960s and I'm going to shoot whatever I feel like shooting, and I'm not going to look through the eyes of politically correct people. I'm going to look through my own eyes. This photo's for me. I guarantee you that there'll be another maybe 2 or 3 million people in the world that'll love your picture, and that's all that matters. You forget the other billion people that don't, because they're never going to buy it, so I don't care. I can't push this enough that you should be taking photos of what you love, and ignore everything else. If enough people like what you're doing and you can be different, your work's going to stand out. But if you just look the same as every other competition camera club photo looks, you're going to be boring, and photography just got boring.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, you do harp on that a little bit. Someone wants to know if you would recommend buying a used Hasselblad H5D for $5,000 on eBay, or buy a new Fuji GSX50R.
Hard question. Haven't touched a Fuji, just have never had a chance to. I'm not against it, so I can't give you a guaranteed answer on that. What I might do, I finish painting. If that follows me around. I get back in shot. I've just got to quickly grab a drink. I'll keep talking anyway.
Let's flip it over to this one then.
I love my Hasselblads. I'm not sure if there's any history at the moment. I think the H series is finished. So you won't have any new lenses. Did it find me? Oh, it's looking.
Oh, I switched it.
You switched it?
I don't know.
Am I going to sit behind you?
If you want to. You can get me one of those.
A beer?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm going to put up with. I pay her to be my assistant. I make her coffee. I make her lunch. Do I make you lunch?
You made me lunch yesterday.
Do I make you coffee?
It was really tasty. Pardon?
Do I make you coffee?
Some days.
Some days.
Some days. Not every day.
That's
because I don't know how to use the coffee machine at the office.
Oh,
I don't know how to use it.
Cheers, because it's
Cheers.
not 3 o'clock.
Oh,
it is in America.
Cheers.
Is this going to be easier for you? Or should I be the other side so you can read that?
It does, I don't know, maybe.
No, don't put your armpit over you. You're confused now. No, I'm not going to answer what I reckon you should be doing with camera gear. Go out and have a play with both if you can. See if you hire one. I love my Hasselblad systems, and because I've never used the Fuji, I can't really comment if it's good or bad.
And why do you advise against Lightroom for tethered? In use it's just ridiculously slow. That's the main reason. It's really slow, and I don't like the way Lightroom's it pretty much works. It pretty much converts your pictures to DNGs, and then ACR comes and works on them. I rather take my pictures direct into ACR and leave it in your Nikon or Canon or whatever for it to work on. I just find I see a big difference, even though someone from Adobe said sent us a message, there's not.
So we tried it on workshops, and there was a guy who worked very high up in Adobe who actually saw it happen live, and he goes, yeah, that's shit. So I'm not a big fan of what happens in Lightroom, so that's the only reason.
I quite like it myself, but I understand why you don't.
Oh yeah, but it's a bit easier just to click a button, but you're going to get the same look as everybody else can.
Yeah.
If you take it into Photoshop, now it's 100% your look.
Yeah, I just like it because it's easy. Someone's asked, the type of tape that we use for covering nipples is this. It is just regular paper masking tape, doesn't hurt when it's coming off, and it's like, if you're a human reflector like me, it's pretty close to skin colour. And
we had someone make a comment that if she's a professional model, why would you be putting tape on her? Yeah. Like if she's just wearing a bit of tape on her boobs, she might as well be topless. Well, sorry, not. Bex sees it as, so how many girls actually say, oh, I'm right without tape?
And then you see them like, oh, they're so scared.
And then we put tape on them, then 100% comfortable. So yeah, it makes a massive difference. The biggest thing it says to the model is, I don't want to see your nipples. And they're happy with it. They don't want you to see them either. So, and they're never going to be in a shot if you're going to be posting them on social media. And I hate putting blurry things and bars across my work. I just wouldn't do it. What?
Any workshops in Mexico, maybe next year?
We're talking about, we really want to go to Mexico. We both love Mexican food. So yeah, we're trying to arrange it for next year.
Yeah, I'm still working out the schedule for next year, but once we have an update, I will let you guys know.
I don't know.
Sorry, I was too busy talking. I forgot to start planning.
What's your hands doing?
Doing their normal weird thing.
Are you pretending you're a camera operator now?
I totally am.
Have you shown everyone your nails yet?
Witchy poo nails.
She now does 8 hours less a week work.
This is
what?
I need to be an octopus at the moment. Mirrorless or DSLR?
Mirrorless 100%. DSLR's dead. Look, the only good side about DSLR, you're seeing live down through your viewfinder. But I really don't care that it feels like looking through a TV through the viewfinder, because that's not what's getting put onto the sensor. It still allows me to see everything, but the best of all, I can see everything before I take a picture. So I can set my highlight alerts, I can do everything to be live, so as soon as I see something going wrong, it's in my viewfinder, and the focus peaking allows me to focus at 1.4 walking manually.
So pretty crafty.
Pretty crafty.
Someone said that everyone has a photographer that they followed or admired until they find their style. Are there any previous photographers you emulated or studied?
Oh, heaps. I love Helmut Newton. Would be my first love. Even though there's a style of his that I do shoot, you just don't see much of it because it's a bit fetishy, and too much of the world's turned fetish into porn, where I'm not against porn. So I still adore his work, and I still shoot a bit of his style. It's still embedded in me. I find it's got a bit of Tarantino feel about it, which I love. Peter Lindbergh, unfortunately passed away this year, but absolutely adore Peter Lindbergh's work. Patrick de Michelier, Avedon, Penn. Then there's just other photographers like Erwin Olaf. There's lots of little quirky photographers that I find around that I enjoy their work. Russell James, loved his earlier work. It's just not so much of his later work, but loved his earlier work. Yeah, there's lots of Mario's and Merton Marcus, all those people. There's so many great photographers, but the ones that really stuck the strongest with me would be definitely Helmut Newton, Peter Lindbergh, Patrick de Michelier, and Avedon and Penn.
God, this sun.
The
sun is making.
It's called Melbourne.
I know. It's craziness. And people are confused that you're painting again, but yes, we've
got a commercial car shoot happening here, and we need a perfectly clean psych, and Beck can't paint with those nails.
I probably could, but then who would operate all of this?
Well, we wouldn't need to do a live stream.
Oh, why not? They could ask me questions.
I could just sit and drink beer while you paint.
They could ask me questions, so not that I'm a photographer or anything.
So the rumour has it that you're getting back into modelling.
We'll
You
see.
can answer questions now.
No, we'll see.
We'll see.
Someone has, say they've found their style and like what they're shooting and feel good about what they've achieved, how would they go about finding people who might want this style of work commercially?
Show the world. Instagram, Facebook, stick it out there. Don't waste your time on camera club sites like 500 pics or any of those. That's not where your clients are going to be. Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, show the world your pictures you love. If you don't love it, don't show it. And hopefully you'll build a brand. If you don't build a brand, you're going to have a lot of trouble selling it. But if you've got a unique style that people love, your page should go fine. Be careful not to look up some of the social media marketing, YouTube stuff, and it'll tell you the stuff not to do, which will block you off from being seen by lots of people. If you just steer clear of tagging outside pages or having links to outside pages and things like that, you'll get shared a little bit more by Facebook and Insta.
Yes, they don't want you to leave their websites. Is that the same as what's your best advice for someone trying to break into commercial photography, looking to change from weddings to portrait, fashion / commercial?
Yeah, you just got to show your work.
Yeah.
If you just stick them on your web page, yeah, all good and well, but if they don't know who you are, they're never going to find you. So you just got to find outlets where you can post where your clients might be. And at the moment, unfortunately, I hate saying it, but Instagram and Facebook are most like the two best platforms for the world to see. Hopefully there's going to be some new platforms come along and kick those two out, because I'm sick of them.
Same. They're very toxic and nasty.
Nasties.
Someone regrets that they are late to the photographer game that just turned 50 this year and did their first model shoot last month. Do you think they can really get to a place to comfortably supplement their income?
Yeah, if you're good enough, I can't see why not.
Didn't we find that thing about Colonel Sanders, like the KFC
yeah,
guy?
KFC guy didn't start till he was 55?
Something like that.
Or
I think
7.
I've got it somewhere on my laptop.
We actually found, I think he was 54, 55 when Colonel Sanders first started to cook chicken commercially. So yeah, it's, especially now we live till 80 now, so you got 30 years. Jesus, if you couldn't build something, I built my business in 20 odd years, so you've got 20 years to build it, and then you've got 10 years to have fun playing with it. You could even do a YouTube channel in 10 years or 30 years or whatever. What are you doing?
I was trying to find that thing about...
Yeah.
Hello, peoples.
You're as slow reading as I am.
Yes. What time is it there? It is 1:50. It's nearly 2 p.m.
That's nearly an hour.
I know, we've been live for 42 minutes. We still have questions.
All right.
And
You're slow.
yeah, well, some of these aren't questions. Some of people saying hi or replying to other things.
Right.
So I'm just trying to weed them out. I know.
Everyone says I give you a really hard time.
Yeah,
I'm such a nasty
people
person.
really like to say that I shouldn't be putting up with this and that Peter's a really horrible boss to me, but...
I try so hard and she won't leave. I don't know what else to do.
Does it look like I hate my job? No. So that's enough on that. People are talking about Lightroom converting raw files to DNG.
Yeah, look, I'm not an expert, but all I can say is if you put a picture into Lightroom, you'll see it change, and what it was before it changed was better. If you put a picture into ACR, it doesn't do that change. It's actually the same as it was before it changed in Lightroom. So that's why I love ACR. I have been told the reason why. There's lots of arguments for 2 and 4. All I know is my Sony files, I do all my work in ACR. My Hasselblad files, I do 90% of my work in focus.
Someone has said that we need to do a seminar in Orlando, Florida. We were there.
No.
We were there.
Sorry, we went there. It's
a bit too humid for us.
Too humid and too Disneyland.
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry. But we'll be back in America next year. I'm still scheduling that.
Yeah, just come across to New York, or we're definitely going to do
5-day in LA.
5-day, and we've got to do Arizona. Was it? No,
Texas.
Texas, Austin. So I want to be there for the Grand Prix.
I've heard that Dallas is a bit more creative, or maybe it wasn't.
But there's no Grand Prix in Dallas.
Okay.
Come on, get things right.
Sorry. Someone wants to know if we know the type of car that's being shot on Saturday. I'm not too sure myself.
No, not yet.
No.
It'll just be a collector type car. It won't be a new release definitely won't be something like a Ferrari or any of them, I don't think.
Alex, who's joining us, said to come to Austin, Texas, so there we go.
Yeah, we're there. I've heard you got great barbecue, so we're definitely going there.
And someone's given us a recommendation for Mexico of where to get good food. So
cool.
There we go, eating our way around the world, hosting workshops.
Eat and drink. Where's a good bottle shop in Mexico?
Oh, they'll be everywhere. Brazil, again, we would love to come to Brazil. It's just a matter of scheduling, but
Brazil's a bit hard because of it costs us a lot to travel, so we're not cheap. And unless we can find someone who has all the connections for studios and all that stuff at a good price, I think last time I went there I got ripped off really, really badly by a company.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and lots of other photographers got ripped off by that same company.
Let's make this a bit brighter. Your thoughts on Capture 1?
I am trying so hard to get a good picture out of it. Capture 1 are going to hate me. Look, the mob who distribute Hasselblad in Australia distribute Hasselblad, and they're all trying to get me to have a play. Over Christmas, I promise I'm going to sit down and try and get my look out of Capture 1. So far, I can't. Every time I've tried, even Beck, what do you think about your shoot we did Tethered to Capture 1?
Oh, it did something really weird to the contrast. It looked bad.
So at the moment, I can't get it to look the way I want to look. I'm happy to use it to capture, to use it as a tether, excellent. But I still can't get my look out of Capture 1. You might get your look, so this isn't bagging them. I don't want to change my look. My look is what I've built up over 20 years. And I can't seem to get that look in Capture 1 that I want. I'm working on it.
I'm giving you a break from me over Christmas so you can spend your time learning.
Playing on the sim.
Yeah, well that as well. Wow, this sun. Sorry guys, we live in Melbourne. It's can't make up its mind with the weather.
Sun and shade and sun.
Anyway, what about natural light? Don't see you use it too much.
You can answer that back.
Yeah, most of Peter's work is natural light, and a lot of his work you probably don't realise, but it is just shot in like Airbnbs or hotel rooms around the world from when we travel. But yeah, majority of his work is natural light.
In fact, my personal work would be more, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'd say it'd be
commercial work. Commercially, it's hard because
it's hard. We can't put up with a day like today on a commercial shoot, so we've got to set up for lighting to be consistent throughout the whole day. But my private work, I would say I'd be 2/3 natural, 1/3 flash. But I do move things around to make my natural light look like it's flashlight because I do weird things, which we should do a live stream on one day or YouTube. Yeah.
We are running out of battery on this camera, so that's...
Start talking quicker.
Okay. Do you see any photography trends developing, good or bad?
Nah, can't see anything at the moment.
Okay. How about a workshop in Seattle, Washington? Oh, that's an interesting one. If we get enough interest, but I haven't really heard of anyone.
Yeah, we're really tight. Did you want to change batteries and put that one on?
Maybe, yeah, that might be a good idea.
And I can answer these questions. Cool. It's really, really hard, and this is part of the reason why we have Inspire, and this is part of the reason for the people who can't afford Inspire can see our YouTube stuff, is there's only so many hours in a day and only so many days in a week, in a month, in a year. Beck knows, as it is, I'm already working 364 days a year, and I can't work any more days. So as much as I'd love to go to places like, there's so many cities I'd love to go around the world and do workshops, but just time doesn't allow us, and we actually do have to take the easy sign out, whereas if we do New York, we know we're going to sell out. There's places we know that we don't have to put too much effort into selling the workshops, whereas we've tried places that are a little bit off track, and we have lots of trouble getting the figures to make it worth us even doing that. While Beck's doing battery stuff, which I'm going to keep talking, I think.
Oh, I can ask a question and then do battery
you can
stuff.
ask me a question, can you?
Let me see. What's a question? So again, the US locations for next year?
Well, right at this stage, LA must have to be a 5-day. We'll do New York. We're talking about doing Austin, and we're thinking about Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we might go to the Mexican Grand Prix and do a workshop there, and then come back up
All
to
about
Austin
the cars.
and see the Austin Grand Prix. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. I'll just find like some winery tours to go on.
We were actually talking about doing Burning Man one year, weren't we?
We were, but I don't know, Burning Man's starting to get a little bit too commercialised. Getting a bit too commercialised.
Or if someone can tell us where there's California got some good wine. So
yeah, Napa Valley.
Napa Valley, yeah.
Someone said hi from Napa Valley before. I did read it, but I was trying to read questions, but I wasn't ignoring you, wine country person.
Well, I can't read questions. I've got my driving glasses on.
That's all right. I'm like 2 seconds away from plugging this back in.
But while she's doing that, the one thing I really want to push the most is for you to become your own entity, your own artist. If you treat your photography as a painter, you don't ask people's opinion while you're painting. You just sit there and start painting on a canvas. You don't have to go to school. You can just grab some paint, start splashing on a canvas, then you can overpaint it 30, 40 times until you love it. That's what you should be doing with your photography. It doesn't matter if you haven't got any skill in the world technically, but if you just start turning knobs and doing shit, and all of a sudden, oh shit, that worked, I like it, I've got no problem with that. You still took that picture, you still decided this is what I like and this is what I'm going to show the world. That's creating. And to me, that's the most important thing, is you to actually show the world what you can create. If you're a singer, a friggin' dancer, a painter, a nail technician.
I'm getting new ones.
Does everyone like her swamp hair? See that greeny brown? It was supposed to be cobalt blue.
Navy blue.
Navy blue.
And I'm a swamp lady now. That's why we're dealing with it. Oh, this sun. I need to be an octopus to try and do this and read at the same time. There's a Grand Prix in Montreal.
Yeah, I know, but we did. How do you say hello in Canadian?
Photo contests are biased and usually very unfair. Peter's thoughts. He did touch on this before, saying that, it's unfair.
It's just a way, seriously, a photo competition award on your wall is not worth a cent. It just means that you did something that the judges like. Who said that their idea is what you should be doing? So, it's 100% against the whole award thing. You can just sit there and take a great picture and pat yourself on the back. You're going to get more joy out of you really enjoying your picture than you sending your picture that you love to bits to some competition to have some wanker sit there and tell you all the things that were wrong with it. How does that make you feel good? Doesn't. And again, take pictures for you. Don't worry about anybody else. Just make sure you're happy with them.
Alex said in Capture 1, use the green slider in levels, shift them to the left, and then you can get your chrome look.
Oh.
So there you go.
To the left, to the left.
Yes, Beyonce.
Right.
Beyonce.
I was doing your Tinder. Is that the way you swiped? Or? I don't know, I've never used it.
I don't know either, I've also never used it.
Yeah, right.
I haven't. I've been in a relationship for a very long time.
That's right.
When are we coming to Sydney? We were just there a few weeks ago.
You missed us. See you next year.
We'll be back next year though. Keep an eye on our schedule and we'll let you know.
Anybody, look, we send out a newsletter, once a month?
Yep.
So we never spam. It's just once a month.
And you can sign up on on the workshop's website.
On the workshop's website, you can sign up or just send us an email. Put your email address in or a comment here, whatever you like. We'll stick you on our mail address and then you get notified before anybody gets notified where we're running workshops.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And if you even email me, I'll send you a little personal one where you can book workshops. How much of your work is commercial shoots and how much is for personal clients? I
used to work pretty much. Originally was about 65-70% was commercial, 30% was mine. Then after doing a couple of demonstrations for Hasselblad, education started to come into things, and editorials started to drop off and magazines didn't want to pay anymore. So education came in to take up about a third. So I ended up doing 1/3 commercial, 1/3 educational, and then 1/3 my own work. Now today, it's most likely 1/3 is still commercial. And the next is a crossover, because some of the stuff, there's a fair bit of stuff that we do which is educational, which is stuff I want to do. So
like we'll do something for Inspire, but it's actually a shoot
that I want to do anyway.
So it's a bit of both.
It's a bit of both. So if anything, it's most likely, 35%, no, kind of. The educational stuff's most likely takes up about 30% of our time. Yeah, it's still mostly 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Yeah, roundabout way.
How do you feel about the emotion of the person in front of you compared to the technical aspects? For Doug, it is 90% emotion.
What's going to get a better picture, and I have this all the time, is a better picture that you caught this incredible moment in time, you've captured it, but it's slightly soft and maybe it's slightly underexposed, or is it better to have missed that moment and had it perfectly sharp and perfectly exposed? I don't think I need to answer that.
Yes. And that's kind of a good segue, because is grain in photos a deal breaker?
No.
Yes. You love it. You actually...
Look, older, so yeah. Some cameras, ISO grain can be a bit ugly, and if you look carefully at the picture, the grain is really only on half the picture, so it's around about 128 RGB down to black. Which means you have grain in your blacks, your shadows, through to your midtones, but by the time you get to your highlights, there's no grain. Well, in film, we always had that emulsion in the whole picture, so whatever noise or grain was in the shadows was the same noise or grain in the highlights. If that's what you're getting, the quickest and easiest way is go into Photoshop, drop a blank layer over it, add 20% noise to that layer, put it to either soft light or overlay, and then change your opacity to suit. Now you're going to put noise into the highlights, and you can maybe, just once you've done that, maybe put a bit of blur on the grain so it's not super sharp and crispy. And that'll get you that noise throughout the picture, and all of a sudden now it feels like beautiful film.
That's your tricks.
My tricks. I think
tricks.
Well, I haven't done any of this, have I?
I don't think so.
I'll do a retouch on. I did a shooting making digital look like film. Maybe I need to do a retouch.
You should do a retouch. Yes. Who's your favourite F1 driver and team?
Oh, come on, I'm Australian. Well, it's really hard. My favourite team is Ferrari. My favourite F1 driver is Ricciardo. So it's really, really hard. I'm torn between two loves.
Do you do much product photography?
Pretty much. How many do you maybe?
I was about to say, in the nearly
2 or 3%.
Yeah, in the nearly 2 years I've worked with you, I think I've seen you do like 3 product shots.
Yeah. Not shoots. Look, it's not what I specialise in, and there's lots of great photographers that can do product just the same as me that are half the price. I'm too expensive, but it's not what I do. I need most of the stuff where I can charge my full rate is to be able to get an emotion out of a model to sell a product.
Do you use a colour checker for commercial work?
Yep. Sorry, simple. You have to.
You have to, yeah. Oh, lots of margaritas and pina coladas in Mexico.
You have your pinas, I'll have the margas.
Well, I'll just have it all. I have reminded Percy that it is beer o'clock, correct? Someone wants a closer look at my nails. So how do I do this? There you go. Wow.
So imagine her just trying to get memory cards out of cameras.
It's out of focus.
Imagine her typing.
They're beautiful, I love them. They're my talons. Okay, let's get back to important things though.
5 more minutes and we better.
Yeah, we have really. Well, it's been an hour. Should we really?
We'll just do 5 minutes thing.
Thought about doing an online portfolio reviews for a change of course.
No, I'm never going to tell you what's right or wrong with your photo. You need to look at your own photo, and if you don't like it, start taking photos till you do like. One of the things I suggest you do is find in the genre that you're trying to shoot. So if you're shooting weddings, try and find your favourite wedding photographers' photos, put them all into a folder in Pinterest. Just keep collecting, then start dropping your own wedding photography in there. And if it stands out because it's really bad, keep looking at the other stuff. It'll train your eye, because you should have only collected the wedding photos that you like. So it'll train your eye into what you should be taking yourself.
Apparently you can get an exposure 4 plug for Photoshop, which you can control grain and on all tones, and has some awesome film emulations.
Yeah, that I use. There's a program that I find quite nice, which is, I can't remember. I used it the other day. It's good. When we find it, we'll put it in the link below. I promise you in the link below, I'll look it up. It's a program that's just a plug-in for both Photoshop, and we can use it on video editing, so I can use it in Final Cut. And it has got all the emulsions of all my favourite films. I can't remember its name.
Oh, cool. Sorry, we'll find it.
I'll put a link in.
Okay. How much do economic recessions affect your business?
Touch wood, it hasn't. I don't rely. Yeah, sorry, you did that. I didn't do that. I don't rely on the advertising industry to make the bulk of my money. If I did, yes, it would, because the advertising industry is very, very. Although it's up and down. When things start going bad, more people put money into advertising to make things go good. But it just went down again. You're right. Okay. It was just that one cloud.
Just the one.
It's worse in here too, since we had our skylights changed, because the light affects us a lot more. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Maybe has a bit of effect on workshops around the world. But that's about the only thing we see a difference on.
There we go. And why did you start your YouTube channel? It's only for fun or to promote photography in your business? What does YouTube give you?
Yeah, really good question.
Yeah.
No, we started many years ago, but that was, I had a different assistant for a different reason. But I use YouTube so much in my own life, so every time I need to find something, I just YouTube it.
Always watching tutorials on
always watching some type
food,
of a review, or cooking especially. Stuff that, we had a model here one day and her headlight blown and she wanted me to fix it. I said, no, we YouTubed it. Put a car model in YouTube that she could fix her own headlight, and it was awesome. So I think YouTube is amazing for that. I really enjoyed it. And with the way my business is structured, yes, we are very expensive for workshops. And we know that, but we can't do it any cheaper, and I'm not going to, because I can sleep in my own bed every night and play with my own dogs and just stay in Melbourne and charge this much a day. Yeah. So if I'm going to fly overseas and I need to at least be able to charge my same day rate. Yeah. I'm not going to go over there and work for less and not be able to see my dogs each day.
It's all about the dogs.
And my wife wants them. So with that, there's lots of people that can't afford the workshop. So that's where an Inspire came in. So Inspire is there for the people who can't afford the workshops but still want to understand how my stupid brain works and how I think about things, photography and a little bit about life. So there's two different levels. The people who've got a bit of money, they'll just buy yearly. There's people who don't have much money that might buy one monthly twice a year, which means that's all they can afford. They might be in somewhere like Spain or Brazil or places where they don't earn much money, or they could live in New York and have a wife and 3 kids, and they've got no money then. Yeah. So that's there, and then the YouTube channel is the next level below. It's a little bit of an advertising of what we do, but it's also some free teaching for people who can't even afford our Inspire channel.
And it's fun.
And it's fun, and we're also trying to get people back to taking good photos, get them away from camera club, putting yourself in a box, worrying about megapixels, worrying about focus, rules of turds. Why'd you cut her feet off? Yeah, we keep saying this as one of our YouTubes, and we must have had 30 people ask why I cut her feet off. She has really ugly toes. No. I just didn't want them in the shot. They weren't cut off. They just weren't good enough to get in the picture.
My feet were on different heights boxes as well.
Yeah. I didn't want heels because we weren't going for that high heel lingerie look. And the stockings didn't look that pretty on the toes part of it.
Nah, they looked a bit
And
saggy.
your feet are always a bit smelly. I didn't want to get smell-o-vision. I didn't want that smell-o-vision on the camera shot. Yeah, anyway, stop being silly.
All right, we should really wrap this up.
Yeah, I've got 2 more mouthfuls of beer. And then we're
Okay,
done.
what are your thoughts on the Fujifilm medium format? You've never...
Yeah, sorry. I'd love to give you an honest opinion, but I don't know.
It's
I
never
seriously don't know. I haven't had the opportunity to play with one yet.
And
It might be amazing. Hasselblad might lose me.
Ooh, big calls for
if it's
Thursday
a-
Arvos.
Yeah, Thursday Arvos. It's only Fridays.
Yes. Lots of changes in YouTube after December the 10th. How will it affect your content? I'm pretty sure the changes are only for kids channels, so this is
And not a kids
channel,
channel.
so I
That
don't
shouldn't
think it'll...
affect us.
Yeah, I think so. That's all of my knowledge on it. It's my job to look that stuff up, but from what I was reading, it won't affect us.
We've already
already
done
marked
that.
all
We've
that
already
stuff,
marked
yeah.
everything as not child friendly.
Inspire, the price is, so it'll...
Depends on what country.
Yeah, it depends on what country you're in. So if you're in Europe, it's in euros. If you're in the United States, it's US dollars. UK is in pounds. Australia is in AUD. And if you're outside of those countries, it'll default to US dollars.
And it's $200 a year.
Yes.
Is it? And
25
a month in US. In all the other countries, it's like a
It all
variation of
just,
that.
it's all relative to each other. So it all does that, but we've got a cool little thing that just automatically works that out with wherever you are.
And it is designed that you can just go on for a month, look at all of our, we're up to about 300?
Yeah, I think we're about 300 videos.
300 videos, so you can look at all of them in that
log off.
month, then get off, then come back 6 months later and look
See
at
what else?
all the old ones as well as anything new we've put up.
That is correct.
2 more,
2 more.
yeah.
Someone just said Corona is very good, which yeah, I agree. It's very good.
Yeah, we don't have any lime.
I know, we should have got limes.
We should have.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Anyways, every photographer needs a Beck.
Yeah.
You really don't. I'm actually really annoying.
It's like saying every brain needs a tumour. Well, that was not,
was a bit
that's no political incorrectness coming out.
That was a little bit nasty. Spaz.
I could do worse than Beck.
You could.
Well, I did, but now we'll fix that. Shh.
Cool. I
That
think
put
that's
you
all
off.
the, yeah, I think that's all the questions.
That fully put you off.
I think that's all the questions. So, we should wrap it up, I guess.
You wrap it
I'll
up
finish this.
and say hi to Mandy. So I think he's watching.
I don't think so. I don't think
Yeah,
we should talk about
Don't talk
that.
about Mandy.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed us sitting around drinking beer, painting the psych, asking questions. We will be doing another live,
I don't know when we'll do another live, but we've got some new
too sure.
content coming up.
but we've got a bunch of new
Early
content.
next week, we've got to shoot next week that we're going to put up because we're now back in Melbourne.
Oh, we're in
and
Melbourne.
we're not running, no more workshops for the year, or not till
Not till May.
May. So like May, February.
February, yeah.
Yeah, not
Melbourne
till February.
5
so
days,
that
sorry.
gives us lots and lots of time to catch
Catch up. So we've been doing catching up on our stuff. So there'll be heaps of content coming out for you guys really soon. And yeah, any other questions, comments, leave them below.
Yep.
I will get to them. Even if I have to ask Peter, it'll probably be me typing with my long nails. And we hope you enjoyed. Cool. Merry Christmas. Have a good New Year, guys. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.